We are also joined this evening by travel expert Eoghan Corry. And Eoghan, you heard the professor there saying if you don't need to go on your holiday, don't go on your holiday. You'd presumably have a very different approach.
Absolutely. The idea of zero COVID is really something that is almost an academic pursuit. It isn't something that has happened in previous pandemics, 1968, 1958, 1918, even in eras, if you go back into ancient history, into the 1830s, when there was possibilities to quarantine and lockdown, the virus always gets through. Okay. Reacting to it, I would contradict Anthony, the reaction to it is what has really, really caused devastation through the tourism and travel economy.
So Eoghan, okay, today's measures then, particularly let's talk domestically, we're encouraging people in Dublin not to leave the county. Does that undermine the stay and spend message? Is it bad news for your business?
Really bad news. It's been a season that has struggled. It's almost at an end. Everybody's trying to pick up the little bits of it. The stay and spend was specifically targeted at October, November to those small businesses to try and get what they could left of the wreckage of the season, and an advisory to Dublin people not to travel could cause huge damage to that.
Professor Mary Horgan, can I talk about Dublin? Because there are 1.3 million people living there who are watching tonight. The measures that were introduced today, so there hasn't been wet pubs in Dublin for months. There hasn't been people at sporting events watching them for weeks. Leaving Dublin doesn't stop the spread of the virus in Dublin. What today is going to help us keep the virus at bay in Dublin?
Okay. What's really helpful is interrogating the information that we have. The information on all of the people who've tested positive in the last few weeks. Where do they live? How do they get it? Why do they get it? And really getting on top of it. The fact that the plan today said that there would be 30 testing centres with pop-up centres. That's what we need to do. We need to get on top of it. It may be in just local areas, not everyone. I mean, Dublin is a town of many villages, and rather than maybe having a broad brush approach to it, that it can be really forensically looked at. So we get an understanding, we get on top of it, we get out there, we test, really like a SWAT team going out and really getting on top of it, so we can avoid the restrictions, the travel restrictions being put on people. And I certainly was delighted to hear today that there was an EU initiative to try to get us back travelling within Europe, not mind Ireland.
Okay, well let's get Eoghan Corry's reaction to that. The green list set to expand, and now we're going to pin our colours to the European plan. That's surely a good day.
The problem is, again, that the European plan was put in place, the original version of it, on May the 23rd. And we decided not to participate in that. If that had happened in June the 15th, there would have been some sort of solace out of the season. The season is a write-off. It's like bringing on your impact sub, Louise, after the match is over, Seamus Darby or Alan McLaughlin. The season was lost with the opportunity, for instance, of Germany as a big inbound market. And it's not just about holiday making. The Ireland I grew up in is a very different one from today. 17% of us were born abroad. A lot of the people making the decisions do not appreciate that like keeping Poland, who are likely to go on the green list on Monday, the 120,000 Polish people in Ireland, there are disconnected families all over the place. This has been devastating for families, for business. Their machines are going unserviced, including in the health service, because engineers can't get in to service them.
And of course, Eoghan, it's been devastating. Sorry to cut across you, Eoghan, but it has been devastating for the aviation industry. Will there be some positivity among the workers in, for example, Shannon and Cork airports today?
It's not quite clear, because this is 6 months where the travel policy, if it gets aligned with Europe, will be very, very important for inter-European travel. We've also heard the Taoiseach taking an interpretation which may not take the second metric of that European policy, which is more than 3% of cases are positive, you're on the list. If less than 3%, you're off the list. That would leave all but 6 countries in Europe on our list. If America, we have to, that outside of Europe is another issue altogether. Shannon and Cork are just as much in danger tonight as they were before, because the lack of connectivity is going to cause airlines like Aer Lingus to consider rebranding those aircraft, putting Iberia and BA flat colours on them, and Ryanair moving more aircraft off the island.
Okay.
The decisions are going to be made for next March, but in the middle of this, we really need to have some sort of positive signs from the government, more positive than the belated decision.
Positive signs is what you're looking for, Eoghan. Listen, I am sorry to have to wind things up. Professor Mary Horgan and Professor Anthony Staines, my thanks to you this evening. Miriam.
That's all from us for tonight.